honor and privilege to serve. And I'm going to become an extremely exciting year filled with opportunity, filled with 1972, April 7th.
Farmer more in the state of Arkansas in poultry growing, not necessarily.
Is it because of some legislation or laws, or that supply of chickens do you produce here? Do you have any idea?
Like that.
Day for news, comes into the city streets, and
this area, the distribution will take place underground in this particular area.
It's next to impossible to get brains. Oh, that's essentially,
you'd be upset to be in the world to have it on.
Larry? Here's a trout, Jack. Oh, no. Back last spring for 3 more months individually. And of course you can't be attending classes.
What is it? The rock. The rock. You're the rock lady. The rock with
trowel scratches on it.
Where you found it?
to get on TV.
Put it back in your pocket.
It's embarrassing. Embarrassing.
Really?
Well, on TV.
I read the Article 52.4 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. All witnesses testifying in court of
Skyrocketing feed costs are forcing many South and East Texas poultry producers to kill baby chicks by the thousand because it's become no longer economically feasible to raise them for market. Pilgrim Industries, one of the 3 largest producers of poultry in the state of Texas, has already destroyed 19,000 breeder chickens and reduced egg settings by more than 13% to cut down on losses. The other major producers are reportedly making similar 10 to 15% reductions. Lonnie Pilgrim, president and owner of the Pilgrim Industries, says poultry producers are caught at a 90-day low by the Phase 4 freeze, which has pushed producer losses from 5 to 10 cents a pound on poultry. Pilgrim adds that the price of soybean meal has increased by a total of $295 a ton in a 1-year period.
About a year ago, we were producing chickens for approximately 28 cents a pound. This is a finished pound of product, and today it's running about 50 cents a pound, which is an increase of 22 cents a pound over the last several months.
What brought about this increase?
Well, it was brought about, it began last December, and it's increasingly grown over the last few months, but it was brought about first by the sale of grain to Russia. It happened in late fall, and since then we've had just a spiraling cost of grain every week. So it's because of exports primarily that's brought about the increase in the cost of production.
42,000 baby chicks will be destroyed tomorrow morning in Joaquin, and estimates are that that number will climb to 300,000 by the end of next week. Some poultry producers are calling for a moratorium on the export of grain to foreign countries to avert more of the same until a new crop is in. For now, the only alternatives lie in reduced production or slaughter. And for you and I, the consumer, we'll have to bear the brunt of what the industry is calling counterproductive price controls. From the Pilgrim Hatchery in Pittsburgh, East Texas, Iola Johnson reporting for Channel 8 News on the Move.
The U.S. government is charging that General Dynamics conspired with Selb Manufacturing Company of Arkansas to cover up some substandard plates that were issued for the F-111 fighter bomber. Selb Manufacturing makes the upper and lower carrier plates. I've drawn one on top of this model plane. It's a very critical part of the plane. It actually holds on the wings of the F-111 fighter bomber. The government charges that Selb Manufacturing issued some faulty plates by making gouges in the plates and then covering them up with welds. A former employee of General Dynamics, William Wade, one of the prosecution's star witnesses, says that General Dynamics knew of these welds and yet accepted the plates and then passed the cost on to the government. The charge is not that the plates were used in the plane, only that the cost of the plates were passed on to the government. Only 9 of 30 prosecution witnesses have been heard thus far in the federal courthouse in Judge Leo Brewster's courtroom. The jury will probably receive the trial early next week. This morning, Judge Brewster warned the prosecution that most of the witnesses that they were calling were repetitious and that the trial should be speeded up and not last 3 or 4 months. Jim Green, Channel 8 News, on the move at the federal courthouse in Fort Worth.
We are trying to bridge the gap between where the top grade amateur leaves off and the touring professional begins. And in that span of people, it's 20.5 million golfers in the United States. So we started something, a cash award tournament tour, which will be comprised of 20 tournaments from now until December of this year. And these will all be $10,000 cash award tournaments with guaranteed purses.
What type of entry, well, the numbers, what type of numbers are we looking at right now?
We're guesstimating right now we are going to have a field of somewhere over 72, 80, something in that vicinity. We think we were hoping for 100, and we may have it. Entries are still open, of course, and we're getting a lot of, every day they're coming in, and so we hope to have at least 100 is what we would like to have.
Miami are full of star players. Without the enthusiasm I felt that when we played them down there, we were surprised at their lack of effort. But now they're sitting there close to the top of the league, and they're in with a great chance of the playoffs. And I think this may make the players work harder. And if they do, they're going to be a very forceful side. They've got David Sadler, who was in the English World Cup squad in the 1970 World Cup and in Mexico, and he's worth something like $250,000 on the transfer market. And Willie Henderson, who's one of the finest wingers ever to play soccer and played for Scotland many times, and all those people who've watched the North American Soccer League over the years know a lot about little Archibald, who's just a pain in the...
Yes, he is, isn't he?
For us. Bobby Muffet plays him quite well, actually, and I think Bobby can do it again. He has had one very bad game against him a few years ago, but otherwise he's played him quite well, so I hope Bobby can look after him. But I'm always very nervous about Archibald. He explodes, he's very fast, he's a great finisher, and he niggles all the time, and he upsets players.
Do you plan any lineup changes at all for Sunday's game?
If injuries make me change, of course I'll have to make some changes. I've thought about it, but the team has done so very well in the last few weeks, so I think that may be wrong to push the panic button.
Those fuel shortages in the state of Texas have been most noticeable in the cities of Austin and San Antonio, where Coastal States Gas Company has been unable to supply the natural gas needed for those cities. But Channel 8 News has learned that during the third quarter of last year, at the same time those fuel shortages were becoming most severe in those two cities, Coastal States Gas Company exported 19 million gallons of liquefied petroleum gas to Mexico. Now, it takes a little modification to use LPG in place of natural gas, but it can be done. Also, we had severe shortages of LPG itself in the state of Texas during the winter. It's these kinds of things that have bothered officials and caused a number of investigations to get underway. One of those who's looking into the matter is State Senator Doc Blanchard of Lubbock.
So we're looking into the facts about what is the production, what is the potential, what are the reserves, and what are we doing about it here in Texas in order that we can properly portray the picture to the people of Texas and to the people of the nation.
a large portion of the solution is going to have to come from the nation's capital here in Washington, D.C. The administration, of course, is taking action all along. Others are too. But perhaps the most important factor is going to be an investigation or an inquiry into all of the related problems, which is being led by Senator Henry Jackson of Washington.
I believe that as we look at this picture, that the large companies obviously were interested in avoiding any surplus of petroleum and petroleum products. They were aware that if the supply is tight and the demand is great, prices go up, and when prices go up, profits go up.
You notice the government buildings, too. At night, they're completely lighted on the outsides as well as on the insides. While in Austin, our Texas capital, is dark. They've turned out many of the lights, trying to conserve the natural gas that's used to make electricity there. But again, the people here say that they don't have any problems. Maybe some of the prices are higher, but cab company operators and many others say that they're still able to get the supplies they need to operate.
About 12,000 trucks make their rounds each day in downtown Dallas. Almost all of them come and go between 9:30 and 3:30, the same time the rest of us are downtown, and that creates some big bottlenecks. Because of downtown loading zones, 5 lanes of traffic become 4, 3 lanes 2. These are the kind of things that choke off the traffic flow. To control this, there are some long-range plans to put the downtown truck traffic underground. That's a long way off. What might not be a long way off are some other plans. These might call for night deliveries, or services could be consolidated. All soft drinks downtown, for example, might be delivered by one truck that would carry Cokes, Pepsi, and 7-Up. These ideas and others are being kicked around by the staff of the Texas Transportation Institute. The Institute is in the first phase of a 12-month study of downtown trucking problems, but the solutions won't be forced on anyone.
No, the emphasis on this project is a cooperative effort between truckers, delivery people, the Central Business District Association, the City of Dallas, and the receivers of the goods to come up with their own suggested plan, a plan that can be workable and implementable by this fall.
This fall would mean a plan within the next 4 months. And if a way is found by then to eliminate the traffic congestion downtown caused by trucks, it probably won't come any too soon for the people who drive here. Jack Hill, Channel 8 News on the Move.
When you mention archaeology, most folks think of mysterious men digging in ancient Egypt for mummies and things like that. Well, so much for that old wives' tale, because now there's archaeology going on right here in Dallas County. These UT Arlington students are part of an experimental program that gets them out of an air-conditioned classroom and into the field, where they can sweat, dig, and stumble onto who knows what. Perhaps 4,000 years ago, this cow pasture played host to a group of American Indians who hunted, fished, relaxed, and did who knows what. Well, most of the things the students are finding here are Indian tools, grinding stones, things like that. Dr. Don Henry is one of the sponsors of the project, and he talked to me about what's going on here.
Yes, we think it provides an excellent opportunity to instruct the students in the actual methodology employed in the field in archaeology. This is very difficult to get over in a classroom situation, and we feel that the students will benefit significantly from this experience.
Besides all the practical experience these future archaeologists are gaining out here, they'll also dig out about 6 hours credit in this unusual course. For News 8 on the Move, this is Arch Campbell.
Right there,
please. Thank you. Thank you. Glad to have you. Are these what you were... Oops, I'm sorry. Way down under. Get way under there. Okay.
Find the license plate.
All right. How are y'all doing?
This actually is not really supposed to be in the safe down there. It's probably a good thing it was if the safe locks up, but he usually just puts evidence in there that's been introduced in a trial.
To be real frank with you, I don't know all the things and would not feel free at this time to discuss those things that I do know. I think that'd be giving you play out before you be giving the opposition your play before you call it.
I think it's really important in that we get started early. Jim Granberry is a name that's probably not a household word outside Lubbock or perhaps my little hometown down in Glendale in East Texas. Plus the fact that Hank Grover has been perceived as a front runner. He's been running for governor for the last 10 or 12 years and has made the Sherman-like statement that no one can deny him of the nomination. So I just feel like we need the 10 months between now and the primary to get out and meet the people and listen to them, see what they've got to say, and then formulate some plans. And another thing that I think we need to do, we need to get around the state to really put the last gubernatorial race in perspective. Because Mr. Grover has said that he's run the best race in the history of the Republican Party, and this just isn't so.
After that bond election failed, an accreditation team from the Texas Education Agency visited the school. They reported that because of overcrowdedness, inadequate facilities, and unsafe conditions, the Roy City School District was in danger of losing their accreditation as of June 30th. They said that unless Roy City came up with something acceptable, they would not hear an appeal. None of the Roy City school officials would talk to me on film for this report. But Joe Evans, vice president of the board, who was against the bond election 4 months ago, told me on the phone that he has changed his mind. He said partially because now the board has found a construction site and because of the threatened loss of accreditation. Like last time, we'll have to wait and see. June Gray, Channel 8 News on the Move.
This is Reserve Life Insurance Company of Dallas at 403 Ackerd Street. But they don't look too reserved today. They've had a sales contest going, and today is just kind of thrown to the wind. It's party day at Reserve Life, and through 7 floors of this building, well, we might say all Hades is breaking loose. Let's go to the 7th floor and the girlies show. Dancing girls indeed, 5 of them up here on the 7th floor. You wonder what kind of life insurance they're selling, but really it's all fun and games at Reserve Life today. They're just celebrating Founders Day. Right down on the 5th floor, there's another type of dancing going on. There's a polka contest going on. Walking into this madhouse, you wonder, do these people, excuse me, do these people really sell life insurance? Come here, you guys. Do you really sell life insurance?
Right.
What's going? And what?
Help an accident.
Well, we just had an accident. Are we insured?
I don't know. I'm about to have a heart attack right now.
What is your name?
Gerald Randolph.
What's your name?
Mary Graffio.
What's going on here?
We're having a Founders Day. Every year, we have a Founders Day to honor Mr. Salmons, the president.
Get on with your poker-ing. What?
He's the chairman of the board.
Oh, you're the chairman of the board?
No,
No, he is. I thought if you're chairman of the board, we're in trouble, folks. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. So it's a whole new world for the life insurance business today at Reserve Life in downtown Dallas. Say, come here, Mary. I can't polka. Gerald, you want to hold this? This is Jim Mitchell, Channel 8 News on the Move, and really not knowing what he's doing. Thank you.
Joaquin is an unlikely place for a major news story. It's hidden away on Highway 84, deep in the forests of East Texas. And with a population of only 900, you could almost miss it then. But on this day, no one missed it. Even the big city people from the networks were in Joaquin. What they came to see was the destruction of 40,000 newly hatched chickens at the Center Hatchery, a story with national overtones because it points up the current plight of the poultry industry. The cost of feed has skyrocketed, and the people around Joaquin say they would lose 32 cents per chicken if these broilers were grown to maturity. By destroying them, they say they'll save money. That's the attitude of men like Charles Dodd and Dwight Hill. They've been in the hatchery business for a long time, and they told me they've never seen a situation like this.
No, nothing. Over 30 years associated and in the business, there's never been anything like this. This thing is just horrible. We're at an impasse in the poultry industry.
It's going to be less chickens on the market. It's going to be meaning higher prices as soon as they lift the ceiling on poultry.
When will this happen?
Probably within 10, 12 weeks.
These aren't the only chickens they're destroying in East Texas. Other men are doing the same. No one knows yet what the total loss will be, but by the time it's over, possibly millions of chickens could have the same fate as these, ground up as feed for other chickens, instead of food for people. The poultry people here in East Texas seem to feel that President Nixon's Phase 4 economic controls are responsible for their dilemma. Some say the situation is so bad that the very future of the industry is at stake. Jack Hill, Channel 8 News on the Move in Joaquin, Texas.
Maine will be the next to the last performance for this summer here at Casa Manana Theater in Fort Worth. The president of Casa Manana Incorporated, a nonprofit organization, Bob McCullum, announced today that the next performance, which will be Cabaret, running 14 performances through July 14th, will be the last play of the summer season. The reason being is the shortage of funds, because the people aren't coming out to see the plays this summer. I asked the manager of Casa Manana Theater, Mel Dacus, if he feels that possibly the Actors' Equity strike or boycott of the theater this summer had anything to do with it.
Oh, I'm certain that it did. When you have a New York-based union telling its members to picket, and you have 34 labor unions in Tarrant County hammering away at the idea of boycotting Casa Manana tickets until the thing is settled, I'm certain it had some effect on it, yes.
Dacus says Casa Manana will continue with its fall program this year, and that other plans are in the working for the theater. He said they will be announced soon. Jim Green, Channel 8 News on the Move in Fort Worth.
Is there anything else that we can do? Very good. Very good. I wish you well, Alexander, and and I shall hope that someday we shall be able to meet.
The construction behind me is part of Medical City, a new general hospital that's scheduled to open in North Dallas before 1975. The report released today, the Hamilton study, says that this construction and other proposed hospital building programs will give Dallas County more beds than it can possibly fill in the next 2 years. And empty hospital beds mean higher hospital costs. The Hamilton report does not rule out future hospital building despite the present overload of beds. Rather, it suggests waiting until after 1975, when more people are expected to live here. Whenever possible, construction and expansion should be limited to existing hospitals. Other facilities are urged to share certain services. The report does show a need for 3 new major hospitals in the southern part of the county during the 1980-1995 period. New trends in health care are also reflected in the report. The expansion of outpatient clinics at several hospitals may be one solution to avoiding a long, costly stay in the hospital. The report stresses that the most urgent need in Dallas County is for long-term care beds. Private nursing homes presently carry the burden for this type of care. But the report says it remains to be seen whether this type of care is best handled by the private agencies or as part of a general hospital. This is Jeannie Stokes, Channel 8 News on the Move.
We quit taking off the market day before yesterday, but yes.
Still the question to you would be, in your long experience with the industry, have information, and just as short as it was before, the same.
My father's in the produce business in Fayetteville, and we haul the
surprise to many of us. How about you?
Yes, that will get away perhaps from the format that we've been using. It was quite a surprise to me. Although we'd kind of been anticipating something like this, the attendance at our production
day.